everybody, I'm Adriana and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to make a little video giving all of my best tips to all of you incoming college freshmen out there. I am currently a senior public relations major at the University of Florida, so I'm definitely well versed in the world of college and I am got one foot out the door already. So I wanted to just go ahead and give all of my knowledge and experience to you all to make sure you are as successful and comfortable coming into this college journey. So I've got 10 things I'm going to tell you, so let's just go ahead and get started. My first big tip for all of you incoming freshmen out there is to hone in on those time management skills. And I know you are sick and tired of hearing about this. I know that you are probably a 4.0 student, you've gone through this much of high school so far, you were in AP, IB, DE, all that stuff. I get it, I hear you, I was you, but it is not exactly the same as you think it is, and you might have to change a couple of things that you're used to. So something I super suggest is getting a planner. I don't care who you are, a planner is going to help you. I'm just someone who it really works for me to write things down and be able to open up a book and constantly be able to look at it. Some people do it on their phone. All that stuff is great, but definitely make sure that you have a planner and you're writing down everything in your life in there, because it's going to help you immensely. And the reason I say that is because in college, the way things work is you get a syllabus, and on this syllabus is every single assignment, every single due date, every single test, exam. Even most professors, I know in my case, even put down what you need to be reading for the material for that week, what lectures you need to be watching, etc., etc. So in college, things are a little bit different than high school. There's never a night that you say, oh no, I don't have any homework, because there's always something you can be working on. And just so that you're not driving yourself crazy either overstudying or slacking by not studying at all, then you need a planner so that you can write down all of these dates. Every night that you have a chapter you need to read or something like that, that's going to help you a ton, especially because exams in college, you can't just study the night before or a couple days before like you did in high school. You really need to have been teaching yourself everything at home, after class or before class, all throughout the time you've been learning, and kind of studying simultaneously with the learning. So you're taking in information and then studying it so that it really sticks in there, so that when the exam time comes, you are good to go and you already know everything because you've been studying while you've been learning. And the most effective way to do that is just with a planner that you can write down when you're going to sit down and do this and dedicate what time to your classes. Another reason time management skills are super important in college is because when it comes to registering for classes, you are on your own. In high school, the guidance counselors registered for all of your classes for you, or at least in my experience, and here you gotta do that all for yourself. You have to know what you have to take and you have to know when to sign up for it. So everybody, at least at UF, is given a time slot where they can go on into the website and register for the classes they need. So this sounds perfect and efficient and great. And in theory, it is, but it's not at the same time. So definitely make sure to use your time management skills. You're able to look up what classes you need beforehand, look at what teachers or professors are teaching the course beforehand. Go on Rate My Professor, which is a website where a bunch of college students rate and write reviews under professors who teach different courses at different universities. You can find out who teaches it the best, who teaches it the worst, and figure out who you want to take that course with. And then when you go to register at your designated time slot, you are as prepared as possible to just run in there, type in what class you need, sign up, and then be done with it. Because there's nothing worse than logging on and then not having a plan and you're like, what teacher do I take this class with? And then use your time management skills, know when you have to register, figure out who you're going to take the class with beforehand, and you will love yourself later. Promise. My next tip for you all is to get involved and get outside of your dorm or apartment, etc. I know you are at school to get that degree and learn and just get out of there, but really you want to make this the best experience possible. And on all different levels, the best way to do that is through clubs and organizations and getting involved. And I say that because you can get in organizations and grow professionally, but you can also grow individually. Not every club or organization has to be about your major. It can just be about something that you are genuinely really passionate about, and getting involved will just help you just maximize the experience in total. And there are a couple different ways that you can do this. So my number one tip for students going to the University of Florida, but really any college, because I know any college has this, at the University of Florida we have what is called our free speech zone, is that is Turlington Plaza. And this is also just one of the really like commonly crowded areas on campus. You can always walk through Turlington Plaza and there will always be someone there. And so What happens is, as a freshman during the beginning of the school year, a lot of different clubs and organizations will hang out in Turlington Plaza and do what's called tabling and flyering, and they will purposely stand there at different blocks of the day just to give you information about their organization and recruit you, talk to you, and get to know you. This is the perfect opportunity for you to get to know people. As a freshman, I promise you, you are like gold to people. People want to get to know you, people want to find you, people want to recruit you, and they want to give you a place on campus to call your own. So definitely use that opportunity. Go to these common areas and get to know people now while you're a freshman, because I promise when you're a senior, you'll have your place, and then you will want to walk through there like earbuds in, eyes closed, walking, because people are going to try and recruit you and like, nope, I already got my home, thanks. But yes, definitely take advantage of these spaces. I know a lot of schools like mine have a website where you can see every organization listed that is on campus, and you can kind of read about it, see their social media sites, and see whether or not you feel like that would be something worth investigating. And then you could probably find those organizations in real life, either while they're tabling at Turlington or in front of your common area, or even at involvement fairs, which are a real thing, and they're very fun to go to because you get to see all the cool things that are offered at your university. My next tip for all you incoming freshmen is to not overestimate yourself. When you get to college, it is a totally different experience, and it's definitely takes some adjusting. I know that a lot of times with career paths and majors that have postgraduate plans, like maybe law school or medical school, you feel the need to, you want to stand out. You want to show that you are the hardest worker and the best student in all this. And you can definitely do that, but take it easy at the beginning, and I promise it's going to help you, because when you get into college, it is a totally different experience than high school ever was. And so when you come in, I definitely encourage you to use this first semester to take a comfortable class load, figure out what your limits are, what you're comfortable with, how you like to study, where you like to study, and just how much you can handle and just be successful at. And then figure out whether or not you actually even like what classes you're taking, because if you take too many classes at the beginning trying to really maximize that semester, and you figure out, oh man, I don't even like this, or I don't even know how to study for this, then it's going to be really difficult for you. Your GPA is probably going to suffer, and it's just going to make it an overall not too great experience. So if you take it easy at the beginning, you can figure everything out and then kind of push the limits a little bit more every semester following, just so that you can make some really great ground at first and then build on top of it, if that makes sense. I think it did. Next thing is, don't be surprised to find out that you will change a ton in college, and I mean a ton. I know that I personally grew a lot. I changed a ton. The person I was when I came into college is totally different than the person I am coming out of college. I have really found myself. I found my passions, my hobbies, what I enjoy, what I love. I grew more in my relationship with the Lord and spiritually, and just grew more as a person and how to treat people and love people. And that's all stuff outside of even school, and so you will grow a ton, you will change a ton, and don't be surprised when that happens. My next big piece of advice is one that I think is probably the most important, and that is to learn how to take care of yourself now. And I think this is so important for college freshmen, because you don't really think about this until it's too late, but if you start learning how to take care of yourself and be independent before you move out of home, it will just make life so much easier when you are out there living on your own, and you won't feel as homesick, and you'll definitely feel like you have your life together just a little bit more. And I know that when you're graduating high school and you're living at home, you probably already feel like you're really independent, because to an extent you are, but it's a totally different world when you're living by yourself. There are things that you don't even really think about that are done for you, or that you're helped with, that when you have to do them on your own, it's gonna be a little bit different. And so I'm gonna give you a couple of examples. First off is cooking, and maybe you already cook for yourself, which is great. You are one step ahead of the game. But whether it's your mom who cooks, or your dad who cooks, grandma who cooks, grandpa who cooks, whoever it is, learn from them some staple recipes that you can keep in your back pocket and be comfortable making on your own, so that when you're adjusting to this new life by yourself, you don't really have to reinvent the wheel, and you have something to start off with that's really staple to you. Next thing is laundry, and this is one, maybe you've already done your own laundry your whole life, maybe somebody's always done it for you, but definitely when you go to college, you're gonna have to do it for yourself. I know some people use cleaning services to pick up their laundry. That's just, you do you. but I would rather spend my money elsewhere. So maybe while you're at home, figure out how to do your own laundry so that when you're on your own, you're not freaking out thinking, oh my gosh, are my clothes gonna change colors? How do I do this? Just figure it out before you leave. And then when you are in the dorm laundry rooms, you're not freaking out by yourself. Another thing is being sick. Figure out what kinds of cold medicine you need to bring with you, what kind of allergies and things like that you're most prone to, because chances are you already have them in your medicine cabinet at home, but that's another thing that people always forget to bring with them. And so definitely make sure you bring that with you so that when you are sick, you're not dying in bed with no help, and you can just walk on over to your little medicine cabinet in your dorm, whip out your pills or whatever it is you need, and take them, and you're not dying alone, and your mom or your dad, whoever, is not freaking out because you're all on your own being sick. Another thing is car. If you have a car, if you're bringing a car with you or any sort of vehicle, maybe learn how to do a couple things. Maybe learn how to fix your tire or change your tire. Learn how to restart your battery or a couple things like that, because there's nothing worse than being on the side of the road not knowing what to do. When you're in a town all by yourself, your parents can't come to help you, you have to call AAA or someone. If you learn how to do these things before you leave home, it'll be so much easier for you. You will adjust so much better, and then you won't be freaking out when life inconveniences happen. My next tip is to get to know people, and this kind of has a little bit to do with when I was talking about getting involved, but when I was talking about getting involved, I meant more like finding organizations to help you grow like independently and professionally and things like that. But getting to know people is just like, make some friends, find your people, you know? And you might do that through those organizations, but also when you get there, sometimes organizations and things don't start up until a little bit later in the semester, and you don't want to be all alone right at the beginning, right? So these are a couple ways that you can do that. Something that I know we have at the University of Florida is every year for each incoming class, there is a Facebook group. So you can go on Facebook, make a Facebook. I know a lot of people now, like around your age, don't really have Facebook anymore. I feel like people are kind of starting to weed out of that. I could be wrong about that. Maybe I'm just old, I don't know. But definitely make a Facebook account, go onto the Facebook pages, find a page with a bunch of people, typically the one with like the most members is probably the one for your college, and then go onto there. And people, what I've noticed is every year people post what are called like roommate bios, and whether you're living on campus or not, or looking for a roommate or not, people post a bunch of information about themselves, and I mean so much personal information, some of it not even necessary, but they post a ton of information. You can definitely get a feel for people from that, and read them even if you're not looking for roommates, because you might find someone that like you are really similar to, and you can find some friends, you can find somebody you might just want to hang out with and get to know. And that's just like a really good way. You can message people through there and then eventually meet them in real life, whether or not you want to room with them. And that's a really great way to help you start finding a community of people that are kind of like yourself. Also, don't be afraid to make friends with people who aren't just freshmen. I know a lot of people are on these groups. I'm in these groups, and a lot of people are always posting in there trying to promote their organizations to you, and I'm always on my group like posting videos like these so that I can help all of you guys coming in. And just don't be afraid to really stalk those pages up. I stalked them an unhealthy amount when I was coming into UF, and I can honestly say that I found a lot of the friends that I'm friends with now through those pages, and so it really works out. And when you meet people like that, you can also see maybe they heard of an organization that they really are excited about joining, and you can learn about that too, and then maybe it'll just lead to a bunch of people that can be your friend and you can get to know. So you can definitely go no wrong. There can definitely be no wrong from getting to know people on these Facebook pages and just stalking them and learning some info. My next tip is to explore not just your school, but the area around your school. And I think that this one's really important, and I wish I knew this one when I came into college, because I feel like it would have been a much more enjoyable time had I known this beforehand. So obviously, if you're in a college town, it's not all college, you know? Like for example, Gainesville, the University of Florida, very much concentrated right in one spot. You could honestly go your entire college experience and never branch out from UF, like ever. And that's totally fine if you wish to do that. But I definitely am going to say that there is so much to do probably around your campus. I know at UF there's so much to do in the area that you can go and explore that will just make your experience so much more fun. And sometimes on your days off, when you're like, I'm not studying today, I'm not doing work today, I just want an off day, it's really nice to get away. And what's really helped me do this is I've made friends with people who they are native to Gainesville. So Gainesville is the town that the University of Florida is in, and I have made friends with people who have lived in Gainesville their whole life. So they obviously know what it's like not being just at school all the time. And that has helped me explore the area around. I've gone to cute farmers markets, to little like fairs, different coffee shops that are just not in the college scene, and it is so refreshing and so great. So definitely make another little road trip to go visit your college town and go around and just visit things that aren't typical for the college student to do, because it's going to make you feel more comfortable with the area. First off, knowing where you're at. If you ever get lost, you're not going to feel stranded because you'll kind of know the area, and then you feel more comfortable just to like explore and experience different things that typically most people probably wouldn't. The next thing I'm going to talk about is money, and whether you have a full ride scholarship or you have no scholarships and you're going this solo, it's always great to just find ways to pinch a penny and just make your money last as long as possible, not take out any loans. So I'm going to help you do that. I'm going to give you some tips from my own experience, because your girl's in debt and this could have helped her. Bringing up my notebook for this one. First one is meal plans. Okay, so this one kind of varies from college to college. Some colleges don't give you an option. I have a friend who goes to a college in Florida, and her school does not give her an option. She has to live on campus and she has to have a meal plan. I get it. If you have to spend your money that way, then that's just what you have to do. At UF in particular, you don't have to have a meal plan. When I lived on campus in a dorm, I had a meal plan my first summer because I came into school for the summer beforehand and I took summer classes. That summer I had a meal plan just because I wasn't sure how it was gonna work out, like making food. But the meal plan is so expensive, and after that summer I was like, no. And then every semester since then I have not had a meal plan, and even when I lived off campus it was even easier to make my own food because I had my own kitchen rather than a shared kitchen. And definitely I think this is where learning how to cook before you come to college comes really in handy, because you save so much money by not paying for a meal plan. I know if you're in a sorority or fraternity, a meal plan is kind of bundled into your fees, so that's really great for you too. But if you're just kind of doing things solo, definitely, in my opinion, veto the meal plan, save some money. You really cannot eat all that money allots for, and if you go grocery shopping and just buy your own snacks and bring them, you'll definitely be well fed. Like, I think that the whole notion of like eating super poorly in college really isn't necessary. Even our college has a food pantry where you can come in and get food if you are in need or if you just don't have the money for it, which I think is wonderful, and I love that my school does that. So there are definitely ways to eat good without breaking the bank in college. Like, it's just not necessary. And so definitely learn how to cook before you get to college, learn some staple meals, some nice lunches and things like that, so that you can make them yourself and save some money. This one is a little bit circumstantial, and that is the whole dorm versus apartment debate. And really that is kind of totally up to you. It depends on what your priorities are, and just really that's just it. It depends what you prioritize. Do you prioritize being super close to campus, being a little bit further away from campus, having your own room, having your own bathroom, having your own kitchen, blah blah blah. So this is kind of really up to you, but there are ways to make it super affordable. There are dorms that are really affordable, and then there are apartments that are really affordable. So definitely up to you, but definitely explore your options. Don't just think that you have to live on campus. You don't miss out from the college experience at all if you don't live in a dorm. I lived in a dorm my first year, and then I've lived in an apartment ever since, and I don't feel like I've missed out at all whatsoever, and I don't feel like it's been more difficult. But obviously it varies from college to college, and it varies on what your priorities are and all that stuff. So definitely do some research and figure out what you value and how you can save some money in that area. Definitely make sure to save some money when it comes to textbooks. I'm sure you've heard this before if you've watched any other college video, but I'm gonna say it again because I'm the biggest advocate for it. I never buy textbooks from my college, ever. Like ever, 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 ever. The only time I've ever bought textbooks from my college is if it is an online access code and I have to use the online access code for like an online workbook, or if it is a workbook that is only distributed through UF. Those are the only times that I ever buy a textbook from my school. And that's just it right there. I always buy my textbooks from Amazon. I don't even buy my textbooks at all. I always rented my textbooks from Amazon, and if I'm gonna buy a textbook, it's because it's used and it's cheaper than renting it. Don't waste your money on textbooks. Like, honestly, I've had classes where they say it's not required, you don't have to buy it, just don't buy it. And then I've had classes who say it is required, and I've never opened the thing. So definitely read the reviews, see if you're actually gonna need it. And then if you rent it, you don't feel like you wasted a ton of money if you ended up not really needing it that badly. So definitely do some research on that, and definitely look at Amazon, because Amazon has everything. Even when Amazon says it doesn't have it, somebody has it. So definitely look into that. This is also where it makes a lot of sense to get into organizations with people who are in your same college or major, because chances are they've taken the class you've already had and they can tell you whether or not you need the book. My next money saving tip for you all is don't get carried away with decorating your dorm. I think it is so important to decorate your space. I'm the biggest advocate for making your room and your space a place that inspires you, encourages you, that you are comfortable in, and you feel motivated to work and get things done. But do not get carried away bringing things to college with you. Don't get carried away buying decorations, and don't get carried away buying like a ton of clothes, because honestly, you don't even have to bring all of your clothing. You're just gonna feel crowded, and then when you have to move out of that dorm or apartment, it's going to be madness if you have all of these decorations, and then you're gonna change. Like I said, your style's gonna change, and you're gonna be like, actually, I don't even really like this anymore, and I kind of want to redecorate, and then you wasted all of this money on decorations. So definitely go for a minimal look. Don't buy too many decorations. You'll save some money, and you'll save yourself the hassle when you are moving out. I'm just realizing that I kind of tapped into my next tip, which stated, make it your home, but don't overdo it. So I kind of tapped into that with the last one, but like I said, definitely make your space your home. I know a big deal with a lot of college freshmen is homesickness. Even when you don't think you're gonna get homesick, somehow you're gonna miss some aspect of home, and really that all stems from you're just not adjusted and you're not feeling comfortable in this space. And that's gonna happen, and that's okay, but there are ways and things you can do to make that better for yourself, and that is definitely, you know, making your space your own. Make it your place where you are just comfortable and you can get work done and you can relax and you feel at home in. And then, like I said, don't overdo it. Don't bring too many things with you. Don't bring too much clothes, because honestly, I brought every single thing that I owned when I came to college, and it just wasn't necessary. I also definitely encourage you after high school, like while you're waiting to move into college, go through all of your stuff and figure out what you haven't worn in the last year and get rid of it and donate it to either Goodwill, sell it to Plato's, put it on Poshmark, make some money out of it, or donate it. Because when I came to college, I brought all of my clothes with me, and then I moved in and I'm sitting there and I'm like, I don't wear even half of this stuff, like at all. So definitely go through it, minimize what you've got, do some spring cleaning if you got to. It'll make you feel a lot more comfortable when you're not crowded and cluttered by things. So we've made it to the last tip. This is my last 10th and final tip, and this one is one that I think is really, really important. So if you didn't listen to anything I said, please make sure you listen to this one, because this one is one that I think is just so important in making sure you're taking care of yourself. And it is, you're going to change your mind. Don't hate yourself about it, and everything you learned in school is a lie. So like I said before, don't be surprised that you change a ton, but don't be surprised when you change your mind. I want to say most, I don't know the exact percentages, but I know so many people come into college thinking they're going to do one thing, and they change their mind and they do another thing. I'm pretty sure I changed my mind the first 2 years I was here like a cajillion times before I finally settled and I found what I loved. Now, that's gonna happen, but it doesn't happen easy, and it's not an easy process, because if you're like me, I was super stubborn. I didn't want to change my idea, and then I felt like I was letting myself down, like I was giving up and all of these things, and that's not necessary. You're going to change your mind. That's what college is for. It's finding out what you like, what you don't like, and then it's becoming a professional in what you do love. So don't be afraid when you change your mind. You haven't failed, you didn't give up, it just wasn't meant for you, and there's something else that's better for you, and when you're changing your mind, you're just getting closer to what was meant for you. So hold on to that and don't feel defeated. My biggest piece of advice is that when you're coming into college, make sure that your identity is not rooted in who you are as a student or what you can think and do and how your brain works, because when you make sure that your identity is not placed there, then when your thoughts change, when your ideas change, when your likes and dislikes change, it won't be such an earth-shattering, like mind-blowing thing. So definitely just remember that, and remember that things are gonna change, things are gonna be different than you expected, but hopefully all of these tips help prepare you just a little bit for what is in store and help you become more comfortable and prepared for what's coming. All right, so those are all of the tips I had for you. Those were all 10 tips that I have for all of you incoming freshmen out there. I hope these were super helpful for you. I know that some of them were like a little bit serious and a little bit of a bummer, but I promise that college is gonna be a great experience for you, and I just hope to help you be as prepared for what to expect as possible and just get as comfortable in your new life and in your new home. So yeah, I know it's a little bit different for every college, so obviously all the advice that I give is going to be a little bit different and vary a little bit for everyone. But if you're coming to UF, this will definitely be super helpful for you. And if you are coming to UF and you are a baby Gator, go ahead and comment that down below, because I would love to meet you and say hi and just congratulate you on coming to this awesome school. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Bye!